So much depends on reputation. Reputation is the cornerstone of power. Through reputation alone, you can intimidate and win. Once it slips, however, you are vulnerable and will be attacked on all sides. Never let others define it for you.
Yeah. So when I wrote the 48 Laws of Power, I've somebody through my whole life loves playing games. I don't mean that in the abstract sense. I mean literally, like chess, backgammon, sports, poker, whatever. And I like the cleanness of a game. It's like you do this and you can win, etc. But there's also a psychological element in it. So particularly when you're playing poker and you're bluffing and I was always fascinated by this. It's a game of chance. You don't really know what cards you're going to get. But that fellow over there, he's been bluffing. He bluffed before. I'm sure he did. He's going to do it again, right? So the psychology starts entering into the picture in a game of chance. It's not a game of chance. There's certainly skill involved, but a lot of it's chance. And because he bluffed before and he's got that look in his eye, it could be a woman, I don't mean to generalize. All right, I'm going to fold, okay? So you don't realize that so much of the game of power has nothing to do with data and you being a better person at something. A lot of it is pure psychology and intimidating people and winning before you even enter into a battle. So if you have a reputation, you carry it with you. And the reputation doesn't have to be real. Personally, I don't know how valid this is. I have this reputation now of being this Machiavellian characters, and so if Robert's 5 minutes late for a meeting, it means he's playing a game, even though it's probably just the traffic. But my reputation now kind of put people a little bit on their heels, where it's not necessarily true about me, but it kind of goes ahead of me and it influences.
Reputation precedes you.
Yeah. And so it's an extra form of power. So the overall arching idea to pull us out of the specific is power is pure psychology. Pure psychology. And what I mean by that is the CEO of a company, he doesn't get there based on, it's not like baseball, whereas balls and stars, soccer. I'm sorry, you probably don't understand. Probably even know
I'm a Ranger. I'm a Texas Rangers fan. I'll have you know.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, it's not like baseball where it's balls, you have a good batting average or OPS. All right. You're going to get in the lineup. They're going to bat you in the cleanup spot. Okay. Life isn't like that. So the way somebody rises to the CEO, and I know because I was on the board of directors of a publicly traded company, is not about metrics. It's not about things that they've actually done. It's about psychology, right? People rise to positions of power because they know how to play the game, and they know how to play the game of psychology. They know how to appear. They know how to play the optics. They know how to intimidate. They know how to say less than necessary. They know all the psychological little gambits. And that's why I wrote the 48 Laws of Power. It's kind of like, this is the game of life, the game of power. The rules are a little bit nebulous. But here's how you play. You play by mastering these little psychological bits. One of them is your reputation.
I'm fascinated by reputation and credibility, especially given what I do now. But my previous life, I was a club promoter.
You were what?
Club promoter. I ran nightclubs for a very long time.
Club promoter. What do we call that here?
Club. It would just be a promoter. It's called. So marketing for nightclubs, essentially. The guy stood on the front door with the guest list and the bands for VIP and all of the hot girls' names. And then after a while, we owned a group of guys that did that. And then we owned a group of guys that owned and you start to build up this company. And in that, every single nightclub that you've ever been to is the same thing. It's people getting drunk in a room to music. It'll never be anything else. You can dress this one up pink and give out inflatable flamingos on the door, or this one's really cheap, or this one's on a Wednesday and it's sort of naughty that you shouldn't be going out on a Wednesday. Dress it up however you want. It's people getting drunk in a room to music. That's all it's ever going to be. And what I realized from doing that was the power of reputation. Now, this isn't the reputation of a person, it's the reputation of a brand. But if your company is known for always putting on good parties, then you get to benefit from that. And
what happens is when you have a reputation for putting on good parties,
people come.
More people come.
Which
so you
makes
have
your
better
parties good. Yep, correct.
Of
So this is this sort of odd, and this is the really important point. Never let others define it for you. And when you are vulnerable, you'll be attacked on all sides. Because as it's going up, it precedes you. It continues to do work for you, exponentially growing and growing. But when you're starting to go down, even your best work will sometimes be derogated to be worse than it is. So you have done something that is good, but because of your reputation, you're a liar, you're a phony, you're a grifter, you're a shill, you're a fake.
That's right.
Yeah, credibility is the one thing that you should never sell because you cannot buy it back. There is no return policy on your credibility.
And people are so, getting back to the word stupid, I mean...
It's a theme today.
They post things on social media when they're young, not realizing that 5 years later, when they're trying to get a job at a law firm, they're like, sure, they're doing incredibly ridiculous things on Instagram, and that's part of their reputation. Everything you do is reflected through the social world, right? Nothing is in isolation. People are continually judging you. So you have to be aware. You have to think before you post. You have to think, how are people going to take this? If I say this stupid, rude thing that comes right out of me because I don't control my tongue, it's going to ruin one false step will ruin your reputation.
There's a British MP who is on the receiving end of a tweet from 2009, which has come back around.
I think I read about this. What was that?
You get these Estonian retards out of my house right now.
So I don't mean to laugh, but that's terrible. Estonians are very smart people.
Get these Estonian retards out of my house right now, or I want these, whatever. And she's had to do this groveling apology.
Oh, God.
But I mean, when did Twitter start? Probably 2008 or so. This is, it's early. Yeah. This is the equivalent of the Big Bang. This is the, whatever it is, microwave cosmic background of tweets. And I just love that. I really think that the reputation point can't be overstated. And, I've got to see in this industry as well, both whether it's authors, podcasters, YouTube, there are some people who have traded reputation and credibility for money or for short-term trades that didn't make sense and they've not ended up coming off in one form or another. They've tried to cash it in.
Like, give me an example. Like going to Spotify and...
No, not that.
To not name names.
No, not that. Interestingly, with Joe's move to Spotify, that was something that he got an awful lot of credibility for. And that's one of the interesting things. Had it have been with a different platform that didn't carry as much weight, gravitas, they have their own reputation, it becomes multiplicative as opposed to sort of subtractive.
Yeah, I know, of course.
Like getting a Nike sponsorship is cool, hooray for you. That's not you selling out, but getting a sponsorship with some brand that everybody thinks is really lame, that is selling out. You're obviously only doing it for the cash.
Yeah.
But there's a ton of guys that have held political positions or have swayed with the wind, just blown with the way, whatever it goes this way, whenever it goes that way. And the interesting thing is, even if they've made a ton of money from it, even if it's been advantageous in one domain, I actually think that if you gave them the opportunity, they would give all of it back and some to be able to regain their reputation. I think they would give anything they could to be back in the cool kids club. And there's no return policy on credibility.
Well, the other thing about reputation and credibility is it has to be consistent. So you have to it's like a brand. You're known for something. You're known for being strong. You're known for being self-confident. You're known for being Machiavellian or whatever it is.
Funny or lighthearted. Or, yeah.
And there's a certain kind of, shape to it. And if you're all over the map and you're going over here, and your reputation is about that, it's about this, it looks weak. It makes it look like, because we want to feel like people judge on appearances. They don't judge on the reality of who you are. They don't know who I am or who you are. They judge on what they see and how we appear. And if those appearances, they want to have something consistent that they can grab onto. They want to say something simple that guy is funny and that's who he is. You know, this guy is that. They want a very simple formula. And if you can't be consistent, if you're all over the place, if you're changing your ideas, you're conservative, then you're liberal, blah, blah, and you're trying to tack with each wind to get power, yeah, you'll get some power that way, but it'll make you look weaselly. It'll make you look distrustful, and people won't like that, and your reputation will be one of somebody who has no soul, who has no core. So reputation also has to have a consistency, a core to it, a soul that binds it all together.
Especially if it seems like it's being done for a contrived reason. You know, I think people are fine with people changing their mind as long as show me you're working. Explain to me how you got from that position to this one. Don't do it beyond the sort of tolerance level that we all have of this is a little bit too much. Right. I've updated. I used to be pro this. Now I'm anti that. Yeah. I really do think an awful lot about the value of reputation. And in another way, it's very, never let anybody else define it for you. You know, allowing that sort of vacuum to seep in loses you your power over your reputation, and it allows other people to derogate it.
On the other hand, if you're a very Machiavellian person, poke holes in your enemy's reputation and you will destroy them. Bring up things that are inconsistent with their reputation and you will have ruined, be like popping a balloon. It'll just go whoop, like that, you know? And I talk about how in that chapter, how P.T. Barnum played that game to ruin other people's reputation and make people wonder, is he really like that? I guess not, because I just saw this fact that contradicts it. So I'm giving you some very evil Machiavellian advice out there if you have enemies.
One of the meanest things, I'm not a mean person. I don't like being mean.
Yeah, sure.
It's true. But I spent 1,000 nights on the front door of nightclubs with drunk people. So you need a few defense mechanisms. And what you realize, especially when people have had alcohol, is that people fall into only a small number of buckets and behavior is usually pretty predictable. And one of the things that we realized as kind of a script that we could run when somebody was getting a little bit mouthy, remembering that we're flanked by big British gorillas. Right, you're right. You've got door staff all around
not you.
No, not me. I was the guy I was the dude in the skinny jeans with the clipboard. I had the 6'6" dudes with leather gloves on either side of me. They were give me your ID, etc., etc. And one of the things that used to work, it was so mean, but it worked so well. If somebody they'd been ejected or they hadn't been allowed into the club or something had happened, we'd always say, mate, sorry, you need to get away from me. Your breath stinks. And it's completely unfalsifiable because unless someone's going to come over and smell it, they can't say, no, it doesn't. And it just immediately enters this person into this. You just watch the color drain from them. So yeah, oddly, breath, apparently halitosis is reputation as well.
Or just body odor.
Yep.
That's great.
Any smell. It's so...
I'm going to remember that.
It's really good. It's your breath stinks. I need to can you give me a little bit of room? Oh, it's just used to pull people apart.